Good morning to everyone, especially pet rats. Okay, anyone who has ever lived in New York City is probably disgusted right now, but I swear I am not talking about those bold, dog-sized New York street rats running across the subway platform and stealing your pizza. I'm talking about the cute little ones that you get at the pet store. Rats make pretty awesome pets. We had pet rats for several years when I was a kid. It started with Snowy, this sweet little albino rat that my sister had begged for. Well, Santa did listen to that begging, and my sister was so happy. We all were. As irresponsible as it can be to get a kid a pet for Christmas, there was something sort of magical about it for all of us. Snowy was a few months old when we got her, I think. She was definitely not full grown, and that rat was so well socialized. She rode around on my sister's shoulder all the time, and we all pet her and held her. My sister even got her a leash and a fanny pack so she could be taken out around town safely. There were other pet rats too. Stormy, Miracle, and Liberty, who we didn't realize was pregnant when we got her. About a week later, when my mom and I were at an outdoor education field trip with school, my dad was frantically calling my aunt because he thought she was having babies, since there were 16 little pinkies in the cage. Yeah, she was having babies. My aunt told him that Liberty probably knew what she was doing and to just put a little box in the cage for her to have a little shelter and just not worry about it. That was a very exciting surprise for my mom and me when we got cell phone service. Maybe a little more exciting for me than my mom. Those little rat babies were so well socialized. We played with them all the time. We put a pen up outside so we could play with them on the grass. They experienced lots of people and places just by virtue of growing up with 3 kids aged 5 to 12. It's not just the pet rat throwback that makes me happy, though. One of my favorite dog sports is barn hunt, where dogs sniff out rats hidden in PVC tubes in bales of hay. It's pretty cool to watch dogs engage in some natural hunting behaviors, and it's really cool that lots of rats really like the game too. I periodically think about whether I want a pet rat again. It wouldn't be responsible right now, and maybe not ever, since I'm a pretty big dog person and my dogs are hunting breeds with prey drive. But whenever I stop at Petco for dog food, I always check to see if they have any rats to watch. The other day, they had a baby rat girl who looked just like Snowy. A couple months old, so not fully grown, white fur, red eyes. She was all alone in her cage, which is pretty sad for a rat because they are very, very social creatures. And she was sitting on top of her water bottle, looking up at the ceiling of the cage and sniffing at it and looking at me. I was very, very tempted to bring her home. And when I posted her picture on my Instagram stories, I had a bunch of people respond encouraging me to get her. Even though I didn't bring her home, because it wasn't responsible to do so, it did give me the warm fuzzies that so many kind people encouraged me to. The more I've become a dog person, the more I'm interested in rats as well. They are really fascinating little animals. They are brilliant. You can train them to do all sorts of tricks, and they love a fun and enriching environment. There's a really great episode on rats in the Netflix series The Hidden Lives of Pets that showcases just how smart they are. Over quarantine, a photographer in France constructed a device that would reward rats when they pressed a lever that triggered his camera. The rats were even shown their selfie on a little screen, and they began pressing the lever even when there was no reward. The photographer said he doesn't think the rats understood the photography concept of it, but honestly, I'm not so sure. With how intelligent rats are, I don't think that having fun taking a selfie is really all that far-fetched. Pet rats might be a bit unconventional, but they really are special, amazing animals. So good morning to everyone, especially pet rats. I'm Charlotte Lehman, and this is Good Morning Especially. Every day, we're here to tell everyone good morning, especially to a certain someone. This podcast is a group project, so I want to hear who you're saying good morning to. You can email us at goodmorningespeciallypod@gmail.com. Either write it out in an email and I'll read it, or record a voice memo and send it for me to play on the podcast. I can't wait to hear who you're wishing a good morning.